Welcome to the Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling of woo-woo.
Welcome to the show. This is going out on Mintwave Radio. You can simply ask Alexa or go to mintwave-radio.com. If this is via podcast, please go to the website above, KarenRobertsCoach.com, download the app for Android and Apple, and feel free to look around at the other podcasts that we have on our network. Subscribe to any, follow, leave a comment. So today's episode is 157, and today we have Jamie Campanella, who is a time strategist and productivity consultant. And today we're going to be talking about time mindset. I'm your host, Karen Roberts. We are providing a platform for coaches to get their message heard to the people who need to hear it. So with today's episode, Jamie is a time strategist, productivity consultant who mentors, guides parents, professionals, and entrepreneurs to take control of their time. She's the creator and principal facilitator of the Time Power program that gives people the essential tools and strategies to avoid overwhelm and tame chaos so that they can regain control of their time for good. So welcome to the show, Jamie.
Thank you so much, Karen, for having me here today. I'm so excited to be speaking with you and your audience about time mindset, one of my favorite topics. And so thank you so much for having me.
Great. So time, something that we never feel like we've got enough of, that it can be going faster. And I'm sure it feels to me like just time has sped up. But these are all just beliefs, right? So people can have limiting beliefs about time. Could you share some insight with regards to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has these preconceived notions or thoughts or beliefs about time. And these beliefs is how we experience life. So my clients come to me feeling that their time is out of control. They express they don't have enough time. That's like the number one thing that people say is they don't have enough time to be with their family. They don't have enough time for self-care, their household, you name it. And they just believe this to be true of themselves, true of their life. They believe they don't have enough and they have to spend their time in certain ways. So this is the first most common misbelief about time that I try to help people see the other side of, because I want to help entrepreneurs understand they do have all the time they need to do exactly what they want to do. And it's all about power of choice. The first thing we need to do is embrace that we are in control and manage our time and not the other way around. So as you mentioned, this common misbeliefs, I wish I had more time. I ran out of time. I'm constantly late. The reason I'm always late is because there's not enough time, or I always forget because I don't have enough time. So what I truly hear behind these statements is time is doing something to me. Time is against me, or time is out to get me. And in all these statements, we're just blaming time. We are acting like victims of time. And so I want to help people change this misbelief, change the way you're thinking about time so that time truly serves you, not feeling it's against you.
Yeah. And that I suppose that's the thing with everything. We give our power away, don't we? And maybe sometimes subconsciously it's a little bit of an excuse, right? Or we've just fallen into this habit pattern of saying these things without actually really looking at them and analyzing them. And is this true? It's almost something that we've learnt or we've been conditioned to say. So with regards to this, how did you get here? If you'd like to share with the audience a little bit more about your story and how you came to be doing what you're doing now.
Sure. A little bit more of my background. I'm a mom. I have 2 young boys. And I came into this from being in 20 years of large corporations, non for profits, high stake events, and turning chaos into and all these complexities into structure and organization. That was my professional background. And after my second son was born, I decided I wanted to leave that hustle culture. I wanted to work from home. I wanted to create some sort of business where I could be present with my children and experience this true sense of work life balance that everybody was talking about. And of course, I knew that the tools and systems and strategies I had used and mastered in my professional life would be instrumental in how I created this sense of balance for myself. But as the story goes, my business and my family began to grow, and I just felt like I was always fighting with time. I was disappointed with how much time I had. Time started to take over my life. In negative ways, because I was out of control with it. I started to work later hours. I would take work calls when I was with my kids. And although on the surface, the clients were happy, my kids were happy, I stopped taking daily walks. I stopped making sure I had time for my personal creative work and the actual future, the work I needed to do for the future health of my business. So yes, I had created this model of being a virtual services provider working from home, but I was tired, overwhelmed, burnt out. And while I was experiencing success financially, my business was doing well, I quickly lost my purpose. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. The money was great and work can be intoxicating. And when you're a business owner, and the more I take on, the more successful I feel, or the more money I'm making. But it just became so clear that other areas of my life were slipping. And it was only when I shifted my mindset around time and put in the right structures in place that things changed. So through that journey, I just saw firsthand that it didn't matter how much money I was making. Nothing really mattered when I wasn't present with my kids or present with my business. And if I stayed in that place, I was just cycling through exhaustion, burnout. And I don't know if I mentioned, but at this time in my journey, I was running a virtual services agency. And I saw firsthand how the problems and experiences I were having were exactly what the people coming to me were saying. Everyone said, I'm tired, I'm busy, and I don't have time. And I tried to solve these problems through systems, giving them another assistant, helping them create an automation, procedures, all of these new apps and glossy productivity tools. But the underlying issue that I was having wasn't going away, and neither was it for these people. So I realized it was beyond just redoing my business structure or my calendar, because I was still feeling like I was running against the clock. And I tell you, the people I was working with are high achieving, successful, ambitious, strong entrepreneurs. So I couldn't understand why we were all fighting with time. We had resources, we had knowledge, but why were we still fighting with time? So it was in that place that I realized there was something we weren't looking at. And after much trial and error and study and contemplation, I realized it was our relationship with time. That was the undercurrent of everything. And so I realized I needed to make a shift there. I needed to stop complaining about how busy I was. I needed to take charge of my time. I needed to understand what my priorities were and put them first. And yeah, I realized I could have all the greatest, most innovative tools for time management and productivity. But if I didn't change how I approached time, I would always feel controlled by it. So I was really inspired and reinvigorated in this stage. And then I created my signature method, Time Power, which gives people these tools and systems and the relational shifts, which was the magic to really achieve work-life balance, the real kind.
That's going to last, that's sustainable. So I suppose it's similar with anything really all starts with your mindset. Yes, as you
Mhm.
said, we can have, and we do, we live in such an amazing time where there's so much software and tools and things that we can use to save our time. But if we don't have it sorted up here, then we'll probably fill up the rest of the time being busy,
Oh
doing
yeah.
something else. So where does this all come from? Do you think that we put too much on ourselves, or are we putting too much on our plate, or is there something else going on?
Definitely, we're putting too much on our plate. We live in this hustle culture where more is better. The more you do, the more successful you are. The harder you work, the more accomplished you're going to be. And my whole philosophy is the opposite of that. I do not believe more is better, especially when it comes to living the lifestyle that you want and having the experiences that you want. Adding more and more to your plate will just lead you into that cycle of burnout, exhaustion, and not even being happy with the things that you choose. So, yeah, the hustle culture is needs to shift. That society applauds that. In fact, the other day it was so interesting. I've been studying time and changing my mindset around time, but there's so many ingrained habits that we have. So somebody had said to me, "Oh, how are you doing?" or "How are things going?" And I heard myself say, "Oh, things are great, busy, good." And I thought, "Why did I say busy? I'm not even busy." But I thought, why would I feel like saying things are really good? I have got balance in my schedule, or I have time for all the things. Like, why would I not feel comfortable saying that truth? But by saying busy, I assume that person will think I'm thriving. My business must be good if I'm busy. I must have a lot of clients if I'm busy. So it's this cultural norm that we have built up. And I just think that it totally counter to the actual experience most of us want to be having. I don't want to feel busy that I don't have time to be present with my family. I don't want people to think I'm so busy they can't connect with me. I want to make choices and be ready and present to do the things I choose.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like I said at the beginning, it's this almost automated response. We've just come out with it. And yeah, I can know I'm still maybe putting too much on my plate. But before, when actually things weren't really thriving, I felt like I was busier. But as I said,
Mhm.
I was busy being busy, not necessarily being very productive. So there's a real difference there.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it is. It does become this. I love what you said about it is almost cultural. It's in our society that, yeah, that means, yeah,
Right.
things are going good. And it's almost like something we should strive for, which is the opposite. Because
Absolutely.
didn't we all get into this game, especially in the online arena, for that work-life balance? And I don't think I'm ever going to find that 4-hour week that people were talking about.
But it's like in that whole more and more concept, like I people, this is an interesting fact. Most business owners will spend $5,000 to $15,000 trying different solutions to have more time in their life. That these methods don't work because they buy 16 books, they buy these apps, they try to change their morning routine, and they're adding more and more to their plate. And that's creating stress. That's fueling the feeling of overwhelm. And then you're like trying to manage, when am I going to read this book? When am I going to do this? When am I going to do that? When you don't even have time to do the things that are actually driving your business successfully, like that are money making investments that are in alignment with your goals. So that is just our culture. Buy more things, buy more solutions, but no one's looking at what solutions are actually working. And that's the other issue, is that they're templates. Everyone, and my whole one of my philosophies about time and productivity is that there is no one size fits all. Everyone's life circumstance is so different, whether you own one business, whether you have a family of 4, whether you're a working mom, whether you're whatever the context is. There's so many variations. So to try to fit into one method, probably that some man created 20,000 years ago, it's just not going to work. So my whole approach to looking at time and productivity with people is holistic. And I start with what is the experience. If you want Karen to have that 4-day work week, we can make that happen. But you also have to make conscious choices. What are you willing to let go of? What is really not in alignment with your goals that you're just holding on to? All that busy work, can it be outsourced? Can it be delegated? So I say my process is like a home edit of your life. Everyone loves the show, The Home Edit, where they come in and organize your house and make everything color coded and beautiful. Most people are coming to me with that disorganized closet, and they think the only solution right now is I got to buy a bigger house. I got to get more shelves. I don't have space. I don't have time for the things I want. Hey, we got to get everything out of that closet to see what is actually in there before we start buying more space. Because you find there's so much stuff that you filled your time with that is outdated. You do not need to be doing. There's better, more efficient ways of doing it. They're not even bringing you any sense of happiness. So the more we can analyze and audit that, we realize, wow, I actually have 2 clear shelves that I can put things on that are really important to me.
Mm. Uh, And people don't tend to go there, do they?
No.
Because you get caught up in your day. And again, it's, I suppose, if you're working a lot with entrepreneurs, again, it can be quite a lonely place, can't it? You're behind your computer screen. You have this list of things you think you should be doing in order to move forward in your business. And quite often, people are not even really monitoring it to see what is working and what's not. They're just completing their to-do list or trying to complete their to-do list. And maybe they don't even know what is serving them and what isn't.
And that's the thing, is people don't really even know where their time is going. This is like a big point of frustration for people. They think they're working so hard, but they don't even know what they're working hard on. They don't even know where their time is going. So many people get lost in the social media scroll and they say they don't have time, but they just spent 3 hours on social media. And I say to them, no, what is it? If I ask you, what are your goals? What are your priorities in life? And they say X, Y, and Z. And then I say, okay, now go look at your calendar. Just tell me, like, what did you do the last couple of weeks? 9 out of 10 times, there has been no time allocated to the things that they actually say are the most important to them. So this misalignment between our concepts of our time and our priorities and our goals and how we're actually realistically spending our time are not in alignment. So until you have that insight and look at where your time is going and what you want, it's very easy to fall into the trap of feeling disorganized, misaligned, and busy.
Mm. And then I suppose overwhelm sets in
Oh
because
yeah.
you think my time is already taken up. So how am I going to actually fit in doing probably the most important part of your process of actually taking on clients and actually getting on calls, actually doing the things that are money generating jobs, specific jobs. And I suppose, is that all part of it? Overwhelm, it's causing stress. It's going to have a knock-on effect to their family life and
Mhm.
relationships and health, I
Oh yeah.
suppose.
The health is like the first thing we overlook. We talk about self-care. People come with like anxiety, and like body tension and literal physical ailments because this to-do list, this never-ending cycle that you're in of overwhelm, fatigue, doing more and more burnout, feeling unfulfilled. It's this cycle, and our bodies are the first ones to show us something's not working. And the headaches, the migraines, loss of sleep, it shows up differently for so many people, but your body will reflect back to you, is this lifestyle working?
And
And
but
we
are we
don't.
listening?
Exactly. So if we don't stop and pay attention to these signs, then they spiral and then they become bigger issues or considerations that are going to take so much more time to reverse than if we go into our businesses or into these different parts of our life with a clear plan to set ourselves up to succeed. And I
Mm.
think that is time. Time is the undercurrent of everything. I say, regardless of your nationality, regardless of your religion, regardless of your work style, whatever you're doing in your life, time we share. Time is the undercurrent of every single thing we do. Every task, every thought, every action requires time. But it's the one thing that is overlooked by us all the time. So if you want to be kind to yourself, if you want to be proactive, you need to plan how you use these precious hours. We talk about mindset a lot when it comes to money and abundance and creating a healthy mindset with money. But time is, I believe, is more precious than money. We know can be replaced. It comes and it goes. Time just goes. So if we're not present to time, present to our experience of time, the way we speak about time, the way we treat time, we will live in time scarcity, feeling of there is never enough time. So I think this is the most important skill that any professional needs to have, is awareness of time and your mindset around time, and then the actionable structures to support the lifestyle you want with the time you have.
It sounds like from what you shared there, that is step one, because that in and of itself will have a knock-on effect to everything else. Is that not right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I was sharing earlier, is that I tried it in reverse. Like, I was a systems person. Organization, that's my thing. Like, I had it. I had the perfect schedule. I had the perfect system. I had a great team, but I was still fighting with time because I hadn't addressed my relationship with time. I hadn't addressed that I was in control. I was being passive with time, passive and blaming. And so this, I say to, I can help you do all that stuff, the systems, that whatever. But until you work with me first on mindset, I just think it's going to be a Band-Aid. I think it's a Band-Aid solution. And I think the quick fixes that we're filling up our time with are the Band-Aids, and it needs to be holistic. As with many of the things in our life, if we don't look at things holistically, then we're in a silo addressing one symptom versus the bigger picture.
Yeah, we've come out of balance. So is that the one belief that you see that your clients, that is holding them back, this belief around time?
Absolutely. The feeling that I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time, is the number one statement people say. And it's the first thing I would suggest you change. And I can share a tip today, actually, for your audience with this, if you'd like.
Yes, please. Yeah.
So as I mentioned, the way we speak about time, the way we treat time, is how we attract time. So one of the most immediate changes that you can make today after listening to this is changing your language around time. You can stop saying this statement, I don't have time. When you tell people you don't have time to do something, it's demonstrating a lack of responsibility for the hours in your day. So I believe language shapes the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we interact with the world. So to simply stop saying, I don't have time, is a very powerful action. The more we say it, the more we believe it. And then, as I mentioned, we're in this cycle of time scarcity. So naturally, people say, okay, great, but what can I say instead? So a simple way to replace this sentence in your vocabulary is by saying, it's not a priority, or no, or maybe, yes, I would love to do that. I will revisit it next month. But in any of these variations, and there's many more you can say, it puts the responsibility on you. It puts you in control of how you're spending your time. You're making a choice. That sounds awesome, but it's not a priority for me this month. I'd like to revisit it. So it's, wow, she already knows what her priorities are. That's impressive. There's this modeling of responsibility. So the first step is stop saying, I don't have time. The second step is look for statements that you're comfortable saying that demonstrate you are responsible for your time, that you're in control. And so those are the first things. And then the next level of this for yourself could be a nice check and balance, to really check in with yourself about your priorities. Because one of the number one things people tell me they don't have time for is exercise. It always falls to the wayside. So in this exercise, if I say to them, okay, you say to me, I don't have time to exercise. Replace that with exercise is not a priority. They have this visceral reaction. You feel it in your gut. That's not true. We know that's not true. So that means you need to realign your time to make space for that. So by changing our language, we're taking responsibility. We are reevaluating what is a true priority. Someone said, I never have time to sign up for my kids' bake sale at school or something like that. Fine. Say signing up for the bake sale is not a priority for me. And she's, yeah, it's not. That felt true. That's right. That's fine. Or she might say, it's not a priority for me right now, but I'd love to do it over the summer when they have like summer camps. Great. So you know your own truth. You know your own priorities. You know what is going to help you achieve what experience you want to have. But we often overlook our own intuition, our own understanding of our priorities because we're in that go mode. So these 3 steps could help you feel more in control of your time instantly.
I'm going to have to try that because, that makes a lot of sense now, having somebody to actually explain how it goes. Because, as I said, this instant reaction, this response that we churn out, maybe it can be used to get out of something and you don't want to offend someone.
Sure.
Or it could be, you're just making excuses to yourself. That's probably the number one thing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that you're flipping the whole thing. And isn't it interesting that just changing the language you know it in yourself. So like you just said, you will know your truth. So you have to try this and try different things to feel whether this statement is going to be true to you, which again goes along the same point of there isn't going to be a one size fits all because everybody has their own truth. But it's fascinating that just changing one thing, and yes, it's not going to happen overnight because we are in that habitual pattern of certain responses to certain things that come up against us. But that's actually really empowering. Thank you for that.
Of course.
So I can see that changing that is going to affect, again, like you said, how you think and feel about certain things. And working out what is really right for you. Because, I come from the fitness industry and 25 years in, and I just could never understand. What do you mean you haven't got time to go? What? You can get here to do a class. However, after 25 years when I left, and I had then lost my accountability of my clients, of being paid to be somewhere, I realized that I was doing the same and I fell out of it because I had totally lost that.
Yeah.
And which was really humbling because it was like, now I'm the one making up all the excuses as to not go. But it's just bizarre how just a simple flip.
Like you said, it's with the fitness, it's like a muscle that you have to strengthen. So your mindset is not just something that you just turn the switch on. It's like going to the gym. If you want to strengthen your muscles, if you want to strengthen your mind, if you want to strengthen your relationship with time, it takes effort, consciousness, awareness of these habits that we have. So it's like going to the gym. Sometimes you need a coach. Sometimes you need a trainer because we have blind spots. We're not even aware. Like, I'm aware of time. I'm aware of my language. So I was able to see these statements. I still fall into once in a while. It takes much time and practice to really strengthen these muscles of changing the way we think, changing the way we reflect our experience of life.
And if you want, yes, you could try to do it by yourself. And we all know that this is why things like New Year's resolutions don't work and these things, because we think we can do it all by ourselves. It's going to be a far quicker way by working with a coach because, it's not necessarily, now you're aware of it. Just being aware of something isn't going to change it.
Absolutely. You need a plan. You need accountability. I always say it's accountability. Like, would you learn to swim from reading a book? Would you read a book about learning to swim and then go into the ocean by yourself and feel you got it? I sure as hell would not. I would want someone by my side to hold my hand to help me if I haven't understood. Doing something physically, doing something in motion is very different than reading the concepts. So if you want to propel forward, you need a coach. You need somebody by your side. Otherwise, to be honest, you would have done it already and you wouldn't even be listening because you're not even experiencing these challenges and struggles. But the fact is, 95% of the population struggles with time.
Yeah, there you go. And going back to what you said about earlier about, you could buy books. It's still going to take you time to actually read through them.
Yeah,
And just
the
because you've
stack
read
that you never
something
read.
once, I've got a stack. I'm just actually looking at it. I'm thinking, I haven't read that. I've got so many books that I read. And I would, again, something I suppose I've told myself that I don't want to sit down with a book. So I choose. I love Audible. So I do read books, but I just do it in a different way now. I've got the sort of almost cheat sheet way because I can lie there with these on and listen to a book. But listening to a book once isn't going to change anything in your life if you're not actually practicing the things. And look, again, I know people are going to get much better and quicker results working with a personal trainer. It's exactly the same with anything that you want to learn. If you want to go the quick route, get a coach. Exactly. And have that accountability. Because, even going back, I'd lost my accountability. And that was why it was a bizarre feeling. Because it's, hang on, quarter of a century, I was in the habit, but I was the one doing the thing. I was teaching it. All of a sudden being on the other, I hadn't experienced that. I didn't have a habit pattern with it. So it's how our habits run our lives. And if you want to change them, like you said, it just takes practice.
Yeah.
Have you found that perfect work-life balance now?
I have. And I want to say that balance, this concept of balance is quite overused in our coaching market, right? So what my experience of balance is not what your experience of balance might be. So I can confidently say yes because it's working for me. And that's why I say it's not templated. It's not something that my experience and your experience are very different. And for me, my experience of balance changes with the season. Everyone thinks balance is this 50-50 concept. For me, it's actually sometimes this is when I feel the most balanced, when I'm giving 80% of my attention to my family and 20% of my business. In the summertime, for example, I'm all about working less and being with family, whereas balance changes to the other sides of the scales in the fall. I'm 80% working on my business and 20% with my family because they're in school. We think it's this, but for me, it was this or that. So balance looks different. Balance feels different. So for me, balance is, am I giving my attention to the things that matter to me the most? Yes, I am right now. I do feel that balance. And of course, it's always needs to be tweaked. Again, if I'm having a period of time where I need to be dedicating more time to self-care, then balance is going to look a little different. Balance is what you want it to be. And that is like the first thing I say to people. What experience do you want to have? Like you mentioned, you want to work that 4-day work week.
I'd get bored.
So see, balance. See, some people think balance is working 4 days a week and 3 days for other things. For you're so clear. Like that's not balance for you. So you have to be clear what lifestyle you want, what experiences you want to have, what makes you actually feel in balance, and then we create that.
It's going to look different for everyone. It's going to look different for everyone.
Right.
Fantastic. And so how long did it take you to find this place? So on your journey, you realized that things weren't working for you. How long did it take you to figure all this out and to sort this out with your mindset around?
I think I would say it was a 3-year evolution because I had to go through, and I'm grateful looking back, even though it was freaking hard in the moment. If I hadn't struggled, if I hadn't burnt out, if I hadn't gotten overwhelmed, I wouldn't have seen that there was another experience I needed or wanted. So that's all part of the journey, right? You got to fall to stand back up and see you have to have the drive to want something different. So I think all those bumps in the road is what has built up to where I am now and made me stronger. So in one sense, I would say it took me 20 years, right? But in this newer iteration of my life, I would say 3 years of being a business owner, going through burnout, overwhelm, striving for something more, taking time to invest in myself and figure out what it was, and creating a program where I could help other people have the same experience that and practice it and give these clients the transformation that I had in my own life. And I'm always strengthening my muscles, right? Like it's just because it's if I got to my target weightlifting or my target weight or whatever it is, that just means I stop. Because if I just drop it there, then I'm going to go backwards. So I have to always keep my muscles strong and practice what I preach. So it's not just like it's a done deal. I have to be mindful of my language and my thoughts every day.
But there you go, isn't it? That's the key, isn't it? That we're all looking, or most people are looking for this, they're looking for shiny objects, right? To solve this particular issue, as though one thing, this new latest app, tool, strategy is going to be the game changer. And yet, actually, it's all going to start with you. And
Absolutely.
if it's going to be about anything around changing you, it is going to be something that, it is. It's like you've got to go to the mental gym, haven't you? You've got to work your body and you've got to work your mind and you've got to practice it. Yeah, your muscles are going to atrophy if you don't. Same thing with the mind. And is people acknowledging or just being aware that it is a journey. It's all a journey. Like you say, I see the biggest problem for a lot of people with moving forward can be that sometimes they're just too comfortable. We can all naturally get a little bit complacent when we're a little bit too comfy. And sometimes it does take us to get to that burnout, or maybe hopefully not complete burnout, but have these issues, like you said, to actually look at it and realize that something needs to change. Isn't it funny that prevention is better than cure, man? But why is it as human beings, we tend to only deal with this stuff when we've come up against something and we're struggling with it?
Yeah, I guess it's just part of human nature, right? Because we like the comfort. We like like I always say, you're gravitated to make a choice. Even if you plan really well for yourself, the instinct of your mind is do what's pleasurable, do what's easiest. So that's just the way we're wired. And we have to learn to think about things differently. When we talk about time management, I say I don't teach time management in the traditional sense because you can't manage time. There's only 24 hours in the day. I can't give you more. I really cannot. But what I can give you, what you can do when it comes to time, is manage your mind and your actions. So this is the power of choice. This is why I called my program Time Power, because there is power in choice around time. There's power in consciousness around time and living your lifestyle. So we tend to look for the easy solutions, the quick fixes, the band-aids. I think that's the whole market of everything. But you have to strengthen the muscle of feeling responsible for your life and making choices. And it's a whole nother thing, but not even going down that guilt trap either. I say there's nothing wrong with staying in bed and watching Netflix for a few hours if that's what you want to have. But I'm not okay with you staying in bed watching Netflix and thinking the whole time that you should be doing this and you should be doing that. And then you're not even enjoying it. What's the point? Yeah, I think it just comes back to time consciousness, time mindset, time strengthening the muscles of that. And this is where I do believe true transformation happens.
And then you have the power to choose. It's all about the choice. And I
Time
love
is
that
a choice.
because we do. I love that, what you said about then if you do something and then beat yourself up, you've just wasted that whole
Exactly.
because we put so much pressure on ourselves and have that guilt thing if we haven't done what we planned to do that day. So take the pressure off. It is when you explain it like this, it sounds so obvious, really,
Yeah.
and so simple, but we overcomplicate everything. Why do we overcomplicate everything?
Yeah. And when I teach people to change their mindset, it's not about complexity. I like to keep it simple, manageable, and doable, because then it's going to be one more thing that you're like, I don't have the time to even think about it. So it has to be par and parcel of your everyday life.
To make it simpler and more so that you are going to keep doing it, and then it becomes that new habit.
Exactly.
So how long have you been doing this now with this new way of doing things?
It's been a year and a half of shifting my business model to support my time power programs. So I shifted from this do it for you model, the virtual service agency, to this happy place that I am in, where I can work with entrepreneurs and teach them these relational shifts around time and build the structures, the actual structures and systems to make your dream life vision a reality. And that has been a year and a half. And I have had the great pleasure of working with over 50 clients in this new business model. And it has just propelled me to create more and more programs on these topics, because this is where I see the most massive results in people, things that will actually make the long standing impact that people want to have. So I am grateful that it has been working and that people are continuing to rave about the results, because essentially raving about the results is really just living your best life. And that's where I feel the most fulfilled, is if I can help you get to the other side of starting with, I don't have enough, to, wow, I have time to do everything I want to do. That is the music to my ears.
You've changed their whole perception on things. So for you and your business, how many hours a day do you spend on your business now?
Like I said, it changes by the season, but overall, I don't work more than 4 days a week in my business. And on average, it's only 3.5 during busier times, but 4 is my max. And like I said, during the summer and different seasons, it looks very different, because I sometimes, during lower seasons for me in my business, higher for my family, I'm only working 2 days a week.
Wonderful.
And I set
so
that
you
up.
got there.
Oh yeah, I experience time freedom. I truly do. And it's a choice, right? So if I say, you know what, I want more cash flow at this time of my life, then I make a choice. I'm going to work 4 days or 5 days a week for 1 month because I want to boost something. But it's a choice. It's not like my business is, that's the shift, right? Before, my business was controlling me, but now I'm in control of my business. I make choices for my business structure that support my lifestyle.
And how does that make you feel?
Amazing. Free, in control. When I started, I don't know if I gave you that picture enough, but I was out of control. I felt time was out of control. And now I feel like I'm holding it by the reins in this healthy pathway. I can speed up when I need to, but I like steady. I don't like the feeling of my schedule being overbooked. I don't even like having more than 2 commitments in one day. I like space. I've learned where I thrive, if I don't have space, there is no creativity. There is no strategy. There is no, how am I taking myself to the next level? I design my business to have those channels so that I can grow.
Wonderful. So that, you enjoy the being.
Yeah.
Love it.
And present,
Love it.
to enjoy life.
Yeah, sure. So for you, what is your favorite self-development or business book?
Ooh. My favorite one. There is, I will say, my favorite over the last couple of years, has been Manifest Your Life of Greatness by Parizad Shrivastava. And it's an incredible resource for mindset work on a bigger level, but it helped shape the print. Like, she gives these amazing principles of life experience. And I feel having that awareness of I am capable of manifesting the experiences I want have been an incredible resource in my business and personally. So I'm going to say that manifest your life of greatness, because that is the bottom line of life. It's not about we should be doing this. It's not about that hustle culture. It's let's manifest what we want here and now. And it just has great exercises and, like I mentioned, principles that guide you in that direction to stay positive, to stay focused on the bigger picture, and not, it's helped me stay uplifted versus the spiral of hustle, the spiral of not enough. And that has propelled me forward in so many areas of my business. So that is my
thank you.
recommendation. Yeah.
And what about any other, who are your biggest models or influencers, if you have any?
So many. So hard to choose. No, I've had a lot of great people who have really taken the time to show me the way. And so many amazing business owners who I've worked with my own coaches too. I'm a big, not a big proponent of, we've talked about that accountability. So many people have invested in me, helping me see my best potential. So it's not even, when I think about that, it's not like this big author or this big consultant or these big names. It's actually the people in my village. It's the people in my day-to-day life who have challenged me, encouraged me, colleagues, people in my amazing networking groups of other moms and entrepreneurs. So it's hard to name one, because I feel like at every stage of my business, I've been touched by someone's greatness. And I feel that is what has encouraged me to want to do the same for others.
Wonderful. And that is, I love it, because I think many people sat at home, they can feel very alone, as we said earlier, and they can see people who are succeeding. They think that they've just gone shoom, and that they've done it by themselves. But we all need help. Yeah, it's like this, isn't it? And we all need help. And anybody who really doesn't even have a coach, I would be a little bit more wary of, really, because we all need, if I look back to all of the coaches I've had over the years, they've all were the right one for that time. They were all what I needed in that moment. And back then, I wouldn't have even seen my coach. And I think it's so important for people to understand that, yeah, nobody gets there by themselves. We all need the support of the people either around us or other authors or people that we look up to. And that is going to help us get to where we want to go.
Yes.
As a coach, do you have any, I know everything's going smoothly, I'm sure there's still some up and downs, but do you have any particular, or if you can think back to the earlier times at the beginning, what would have been your 3 daily frustrations as a coach trying to build your business?
Definitely leads, right? That's always a challenge or a frustration. You have this amazing service, you have this amazing business, but you're not getting the right people through your door, right? They're coming to you. So I think that at every stage of my business has been a challenge, making sure that I'm in front of the right people that want to work with me, but also that want to invest in themselves. Like we said, coaching takes effort, financial resources, and effort on your own part, showing up for them and doing the work. I think I've ebbed and flowed with that throughout my business journey of just making sure I have the right process and marketing strategies in place to get the right people. So that was one thing. The other thing was staffing, and taking support was a challenge at the beginning, which I overcame and hence have the agency. But learning how to delegate, what are the right things to outsource, and then making sure you have the right people on your team to support you who are in alignment with your mission and your vision. It's easy to get taskmasters around here. It's easy to just get doers, but to feel like you have the right people who are invested in your message, invested in the outcomes of your work, I think I've had challenges with that over the years
Do you
in different
think you would have
iterations?
do you think you would have got where you are now if you had have just kept doing everything by yourself?
No way.
So for many out there that are feeling overwhelmed and because they start this business and I can remember my first sort of big business model was, although on the face of it a success, it was the whole system was flawed because it was built around us. So that wasn't sustainable and it wasn't scalable either. And I think many people come into this industry as a coach, and it's really basically you've just bought yourself a full-time job or more than a full-time
Oh,
job
yeah.
because you're trying to do everything, a jack of all trades, you're trying to do everything together. And which can be one of these reasons, right? That they feel like they've not got enough time because, they're trying to do this and to that. So from what you've shared here is part of your previous business anyway, was helping with the systems and processes, helping them get maybe outsourced VAs and things like that. So for anybody listening, how do they get started? Because yes, if they want to have a real successful business, for them to grow, they're going to need at some point to outsource. When is that time for them to take that next little step where they can start to delegate? And that's a weird thing, isn't it? Because I'm control freak. In the beginning, that's got to be a practice thing to give that to somebody. But what would be your advice for somebody that's looking to grow and they're still doing everything by themselves?
I think it comes back to something I spoke about earlier, and that's that audit of your life, audit of your business. Where is your time going? And where do you want to be focused your time? So if you want to be focused on doing client work, or if you want to be focused on client relations, for example, because most coaches need to be doing the client work, but 50% of your time is bogged down in operations, technology, and administration. Well, you see very clearly that that's a conundrum. You can't take on another client because you don't have the time. But taking on that client is what's going to advance your business, your revenue. So you have to see, where is your time most valuable, your personal time? How can it be allocated so that you're bringing in revenue? Most people, that's the goal, right? Or making an impact and meeting your financial goals. So you have to see, what are all the things that are on your plate that are taking you away from that? At the beginning, when you're starting a business, you might only have 1 or 2 clients, and then you can easily balance the administration of running the business. But as you grow, do you want to turn down a client so that you can do administration? No, hiring someone to help outweighs by far, because you're taking another client and you can pay that person and get more done. So I think it's when you start to see you're not in alignment with your goals, your time goals, then it's clear. Like, okay, if I want to grow or if I want to stay status quo, that's fine. But if you want to advance, you have to have a team, you have to have a VA, whatever it looks like in your industry, but you need support to take care of some of those things so that you can really value the time that you have and make sure you're dedicating it to what your zone of genius, what you're actually good at. So many people are like, I don't mind doing the website and the technology. I'm like, but you're not even good at it. It takes you 5 times as long if you had hired someone else and you could have brought in one other client. So again, it comes back to auditing. What are your goals? Where your time is going and what you want to achieve.
Fantastic. So to any of the listeners out there, I mean, if they're
Yes.
watching this on YouTube or anything, they'll have all your details down there for them to get in touch. But to people who are just hearing this, they're thinking, oh man, I'd love to get an audit done. I really need to get this thing sussed and change my mindset over time. How do they get in touch with you?
Yes. So as you mentioned, my links are all below, but I want to mention 2 specific ways that if you've been inspired by this conversation that we've had today. So one thing, if you are ready to take your time mindset, that foundational understanding to the next level, go right now, go enroll in my time mindset self-paced course. It's called Treasure Your Time. It is a holistic approach to guiding you to shift your mindset with time. It includes physicalizations, visualizations, and practical ways to put these into action right now in your life. I mentioned one today about stop saying you don't have time, but I present to you the relational shifts and strategies to change your mindset for good. So by far, if you're interested in changing your mindset, go enroll in that course. And if you are ready to have that audit done, taking a deep one-on-one customized look at where your time is going, what your goals are, and creating those sustainable structures, go ahead and book my Time Power program. Book a free complimentary consultation call with me, and I'll tell you which program you fit into. But it's all one-on-one, customized, personalized work with me, where I will guide you through this transformation from the mindset to the actual systems and structures to live your dream life, the reality. I'm going to be your coach. I'm going to be your guide to get you to the other side of that. So those are my top two. If you want to work with me, if you're inspired by what I'm talking about, hop onto one of those tracks. And if you just want to have some more inspiration, follow me on social media. I have other great resources available on my website. But if you are ready to invest in yourself, your experience of life, and take your life to the next level, business and professionally, personally, come meet me in one of those places.
And to the listeners who can't see the links, what is your website?
JamieCampanella.com. JAIME Campanella, CAMPANELA.com. There you'll be able to find everything that you need to work with me or continue to be inspired by me through my free resources.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jamie, so much for your time today. For your time.
Yes, you're welcome. I've invested it in you and in your listeners. So it's amazing to be here. Thank you.
There you go. So yeah, get in touch with Jamie. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. I love all this holistic approach. So yeah, thanks for your time. And to the listeners, I will be back tomorrow with a Coffee with Karen. So bye for now.
Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling